People get married. Yeah, so yeah.
Well, it might be.
Not married, but married. That's beautiful.
Did somebody else have a library assignment with yoga?
What? Bernadette?
As a topic?
Did you do a yoga topic on your library research thing? No.
Oh. Okay, I just wanted to ask you. I don't have them all done, but I have one that didn't have a name on it. Sorry.
It's just a little
Small. So small. I started
So I'm doing my speech on deaf culture. I want to start off. Lee-Anglin once said, "I hope I inspire people who hear. Hearing people have the ability to remove barriers that prevent deaf people from achieving their dreams." Deaf people have been struggling as far back as historians go, except the struggle wasn't for like peace or equality or freedom or any of that. The struggle was just simply fitting in with the rest of the hearing community. So what I want to do is I want to take you through time. I want to show you, give you some of these insights, show you like what they had to go through, what their struggle involved, what people did, how they refused and stuff. Some of you might, I don't know, some of you guys might not know a deaf person. I might be the first one you've ever met, ever. But there's a lot of different ones, there's a lot of different people, and so I'm going to talk to you about that too. And I'm not speaking for all the deaf people all over the world, everywhere. I'm just speaking out of my own personal knowledge and my own personal experiences and stuff like that. So, I want to go back to what I like to call the struggle. This is from 1000 BC, when Hebrew law prevented all deaf people from having any rights at all. But the Torah, it prevented you from being cursed. It prevented deaf people from being cursed. And except the problem was it kept you out of the temple. You weren't allowed to be involved in any of the religious activities. You weren't allowed to be involved with the church, with anything. You were just able to not be cursed. So I'm going to take a leap forward into the Greco-Roman era. Aristotle, one of the greatest thinkers, greatest philosophers of that time, he believed that, as he quoted, that the deaf were born incapable of reason. He said that the blind were actually far more intelligent than the deaf people, simply because they can hear. He was the reason why education was denied to deaf people in 355 BC. The first ever deaf person recorded in history was Quintus Pedius, whose father was Quintus Pedius, who was in the Roman Senate. He was the first deaf person ever to be educated, and he was a painter, a really good one. But he died at 13, so he didn't live long enough to make any changes or do any that stuff. The early Christians, their views were some of the most, I don't know, radical views of all of them. All because somebody called Saint Augustine, he was a minister for the church. He preached that deaf people who were born deaf, it was a curse from God because of the sins of your parents. So you're basically being punished, and God was angry at you for everything your parents did, and he was putting it on the child. And so they were just like, so deaf people were sins, basically. And then we get into the Middle Ages. Deaf people were actually, they were thrown into asylum because of what St. Augustine said. They were thrown into asylum because they believed that they were possessed by demons. They were, crazy people, and so they weren't allowed to be part of society. Now, I'm going to take a leap forward into the Western era. This is a time when deaf people begin to prosper. They begin to actually get a little something after all the stuff they've been through in Europe. Pedro Ponce de Leon, he was the first teacher of deaf people, except he didn't teach sign language. He made a form of sign language, but he didn't teach it. He taught them to speak. he was the first oralist, which we'll look into later. He successfully taught deaf people to speak language, I think it was Italian language. He first taught deaf people to speak the Italian language. And Martha's Vineyard, which was in America during the time they came to America, 200 immigrants who carried either a dominant or recessive gene of the deaf people, either they were deaf or they weren't, or they carried the gene for them, traveled to some land called Martha's Vineyard in America, where the first ever and oldest deaf school was established in 1870. And they created a community for deaf people, and deaf people poured into that place. They went to school, they got to get involved with the deaf people. And I don't know if anybody knows it, but during the Western expansion, there was actually a deaf state proposal, where it was proposed by John J. Florey. It was supposed to be a state pattern for deaf people where they can do sign language, they can live free of society oppression, of society rules and stuff. But it was shot down by Congress. They didn't let it pass, they didn't want to do that. And then, so in 1857, the Columbia Institution for the Deaf and Dumb was established, which is now Galata University. So it's one of the greatest colleges for deaf people. It has some of the most rich history to it. And because in 1864, Abraham Lincoln chartered it to be the first deaf college ever to receive higher education. So it was a school, but it became a college. When deaf people go, they can be able to study what we're studying now and do all that stuff. So now we're on to oralists. Like I said, Pedro Ponce de Leon, he was an oralist. He taught you speech. He was what we call today a speech therapist. They discourage signing. They discourage anything that deaf people are allowed to do today. They didn't allow you to do it. They actually got rid of all the deaf teachers in all deaf schools and replaced them with oralists. So you couldn't sign or anything unless you were at home. So this was actually 1880 when the World Congress of Educators of the Deaf met in Milan, Italy, and they promoted, they were the most fierce with oralism. They just went from school to school to school all over the world with deaf teachers, took them out, put oralists in there, and forced deaf students to learn how to speak. And through the way they taught them was through lip reading, sound of breath, breathing on you, touching the thing, and feeling the sound, until they finally got to where they could speak perfectly, whether they hear it or not, they could speak perfectly. So that was like one of the biggest part of the thing, because if you were taught signing, you would hit with the ruler on the hand until you finally no hands. So now the modern struggle today, with over 200 million deaf people globally, 24 million alone in the United States, there's a really big struggle. There's actually a lot of fighting, a lot of protesting with deaf people going on with everything, all over the state, all over the country, everywhere. But there has been a lot of advancements in technology, a lot of new things coming out that actually help deaf people hear. But the problem with that is there's not a lot of deaf people that will actually take advantage of that technology. There's actually three groups, in my mind, there's actually three groups of deaf people. You got those deaf pride ones. Those people are so, they want to be deaf, they're proud to be deaf, they don't want to hear, they just sign, deaf pride type people, they're like hard on with that. And then you got people like me. You got one foot in the deaf world, you got your deaf friends, you got all that, even though I don't really have deaf friends, but I'm trying to. But you got one foot in the deaf world, and then you got the other foot in the hearing world. And so you kind of don't know where you want to be, but you know what you want. And then you got the wannabes. But wannabes are the ones who would do anything to fit in. They will go and get the cochlear implant. If you don't know what that is, it's surgery. You get it on the back of your head. They put a metal plate in there, and it's a magnet on top of your head, and you can hear like everybody else. So they'll do anything just to fit in, just to be part of society. Another quote by Marty Matlin is, there are so many deaf people, or otherwise able, who are talented but overlooked, or not given a chance to get their foot in the door. Now, I personally, I know what she's saying by that. Deaf people, we're kind of still overlooked. We're still pushed off to the side because with not only with the advancements of technology, you got radio, all that stuff, radio, walkie-talkie, phone, intercoms. We can't use that stuff because, well, some of us can't. But so we're not able to get some jobs in certain areas, or we're not able to fit in with certain people, or we're not able to do certain things because we're simply overlooked. So we have to work twice as hard in getting in each of those areas. So deaf people have, deaf people have struggled through as far back as we could see, just to fit in society, fit in with the hearing people. But those struggles, they have come a long way from being oppressed and cast out to just being almost there. Not quite there, but almost there. Now, I want you guys to think about this. Next time you go out there, when you go to work, and you think you got it bad, you think you got it, you don't like your job, you hate your job, but just remember, there's somebody deaf or able person who would like to actually have that job, who would give anything to work where you want or have what you have. And so, I want to thank you all for giving me your time, and stay classy.